So I'll just briefly say hello and welcome on behalf of Force-Space to this event. It's a series of two kind of events, one today and the second part, which will run tomorrow, same time, same place, 12:30 to 1:30. And that this is really a follow-up to some of the great work and presentations that were done as part of this summer course, which was a Wicked Problems course that happened this summer. And I'll pass it over to Rachel to give you further introductions and contextualizations. Welcome, everyone.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Rachel Cheney. I work as the Archives Network Coordinator. In the context of that course, I've been helping with logistics and providing background support. So today I'll be acting as the moderator for the conversation, so taking speak turns. I have prepared some bios gathered here and there about our speakers, which I will read to you in a minute, and will then pass it on to Satoshi to introduce the course. He will be showing a PowerPoint to explain the basics of the course, and we will have two speakers as well, which I'm about to introduce in a moment. Just a second, let me pull it up on my screen. Okay, so first, Dr. Satoshi Ikeda is a professor at Concordia University with research interests in the political sociology of global futures and sustainable alternatives to corporate economy. Satoshi role models, educates, and inspires the students and community members to build their own initiatives of sustainable and collective practices on campus and into the community. Satoshi participates actively in the Transition Project, which looks into the social economies as possible alternatives to the dysfunctional and unsustainable corporate economy. After Satoshi, you'll be hearing from Miriam. Miriam Jerami is completing her master's degree in art therapy at Concordia University, before which she was practicing as a psychiatrist and psychotherapist in Iran. Since arriving in Montreal 5 years ago, Miriam has been active as a researcher, as a member of CRISPESH, a knowledge transfer center about the inclusion of people with disabilities, as well as with Concordia's Perform. She was recently awarded a grant by Perform to act as the principal investigator on a study that she designed and looks at the effect of group art therapy on reducing stress in youth, as well as a MyTax Research Training Award to study the effectiveness of art therapy delivered in community settings on improving the quality of life of seniors. Lastly, we will hear from Shannon Brown, who brings her dreams and visions to life with colorful and magical creative expressions. A BFA alumni from Concordia University, her artworks are infused with healing energy and prayers for the planet. As an artist, arts educator, film producer, and transformational facilitator, she is dedicated to working with communities and individuals to create playful and transformative experiences. She currently works as the program coordinator at the Agnes Etherington Art Center at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. So let's give it up to Satoshi.
Hello. Thank you, Anna, first to give us this opportunity to talk to the people through Force-Space, and it'll be a really great thing. Rachel, can you put the slide on?
Yes.
Thank you. Great. So today and tomorrow, we are going to introduce students' artworks and the experience at the SIG course. And this SIG course was offered for the first time this year. And the next slide, please. So how I'd like to just give you a brief introduction. And I know that it should be Janice who should be really introducing this to everybody. Why? Because she studied this and I was just tagging along. And but I think I had a really good time. Rachel, can you move to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Thank you. So how it started and evolved. The Faculty of Fine Arts, Arts and Science, excuse me, and then university-wide level there was a call for application to submit the wiki problems. And wiki problems is a social problem or any problem that requires interdisciplinary approach. Like a single discipline cannot really solve certain issues. So the university is taking this initiative of promoting interdisciplinary learning. And so Janice started thinking about it and then invited me to join her. And original objective of this course, as it was conceived 1 and maybe half year ago, was to address the issue on mental health and senior isolation, using the framework of social determinants of health as a theoretical thread and creative art therapy as methodology. So this was how it was conceived in the beginning. Yet COVID-19 threw a kink, or the sick problem got sickier. And so we have to really redesign and rethink. And what we came up with the revised version, but then it was just the expansion. So we recognized the complexity of the wiki problem, and we widened the scope of our, like, not just about senior isolation and mental health, but then wanted to really garner in so much, or widen the scope, and adapted to a new online format, because this was really new to me and to Janice to do everything online. And then we encourage students to take creative initiatives, particularly in relation to the community engagement, because there was a space available through the Janice collaboration with the Engage. And this Cavendish Mall place was closed and we cannot access to it. So I think an original image of how the class is going to be conducted using the community engagement as a requirement has to be really reformulated. Next slide, please. So what we achieved, I think I enjoy the course very much. And creative art rocks. Why? Because I'm in sociology and anthropology, and my course usually don't involve much of the creative work from the students. And so I really was exposed to a whole creative talents of the students who are doing the masters or who are doing the undergraduate degrees. And that was one of the biggest achievement to me. That is, I enjoyed. Okay, and then students, I think, responded to course material with creative expressions. And we asked students to really report their responses, reactions, reflections in the creative art way. And I was so impressed by the creativity and their engagement with the course material, touching so many different issues like social isolation, inequality and marginalization, global climate change, and all these things that students really had covered in this, even though it was not really deep engagement, but then the SIG program is really having many roots. And we had guest lectures. They offered diverse perspectives on the SIG programs, and that was really great. I learned a lot from their participation. And of course, Janice gave a very personal but then deep reflection of what she has been really doing, and that was really great learning process too. And students engaged in creative artwork that connect to community initiatives. And that was really a great way that even with the physical distancing, I think we could achieve community engagement. And the students' work showed that, yes, that's possible. And we can use our creative talents to achieve under this physical distancing situation under COVID-19. Next slide, please. Okay, so I think my takeaway, and of course this would be different from what Janice took away from it, but then my takeaway is we don't need to worry too much about online courses. Yeah, of course, we can do it. And I think I learned a lot from this experience. And right now I'm offering 2 undergraduate courses online, and I think I am really doing okay, because this one gave me an opportunity to get used to it. And here I have to mention Rachel and Mo, and all this supporting stuff that really worked behind or together with the students and us. That was really enormous help. thank you, Rachel. And we can do a community engagement with physical distancing, all right. I think we just need to flex our imagination and we can continue engage with the community. And I think I am not really giving up community engagement practices. Like, I think Linda Dyer is one of the participants here, and she can really talk about the community engagement and stuff more. But I think it's really great that Concordia, I hope that we are really still pushing this community interaction for the students and community learning, and then co-creation of knowledge. Okay, team teaching with Janice, with guest lectures, gave multiple dimensions to the course. So I think if it happens, okay, I know that we as a university faculty member used to think that the course is taught by each one of us separately, but joint course is really a great way. So I think I really encourage the university to continue push co-teaching practices. The course was therapeutic for me. It allowed me to come back from depression since March, because once this university closed and then so forth, I was really having not a great time. And the painting that I have, that is my painting, and its title is a hot flash. I asked the female friends to tell me how it feels like, and one of them said that there was a deep swirl of the water that you may be sucked in, but then at one point it really burst into flames and so forth. And I really felt like, yeah, COVID situation was like me. Like I was sucked into this vortex of the negativity and all those challenges, but then I could come out. So it was good. And I realized that I need students to live, and collective learning is fun. And I am enjoying being a lecturer or instructor in undergraduate setting, even under COVID situation. And I hope that people can really find a new way of finding the fun and joy in your activities, whatever you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satoshi, for this great introduction to the SICK class. Before we hear from our two student presenters, I would like to remind them that you will each have 10 minutes to present. When you have 2 minutes left, I will give you a peace sign to say 2. And when your time is up, I will do a T like that for time. So you will know that your time is up. I will ask the audience to please think about questions that you have for either of the speakers, including Satoshi, and to save them for after the 3 presenters have delivered their contents, and we will go into a conversation, a public conversation with everyone. So please think about your questions and comments. We will have only about 25 minutes for that portion, which is unusual. When we've done events like that before, we'd had an hour or more for the conversation afterwards. And I see that there are some comments in the chat. Oh, okay. PowerPoint full screen, so I will do for the next one. And Linda Dyer is saying, nice presentation, Satoshi, thank you. So let's go ahead with Miriam Jerami now. I will be sharing an image of hers on the screen as the background. I will go full screen with that. And Miriam, you're on.
Okay, hello everyone. And it's my pleasure to be among you and presenting my project. So this presentation is about my point of view about the wicked problems in our society, which I expressed it through this painting that is in the screen. And this painting shows the connection between human and the nature, and the fact that we belong to the land, and actually the land is our root, and the fact that injustice towards human beings goes hand in hand with injustice done to the earth ecosystem. So In my creation, I use the splatter painting in background, expanding in the empty space as a metaphor for masculine expression of violence and anger. This style of painting, which is used first by Jackson Pollock, is the manifestation of using forceful movement of the whole body in painting, and it is a style which uses the power of muscles and called also action painting. That's why it symbolizes masculinity. And this painting is the reflection of masculine burning rage, showing its authority and supremacy over a squeezed feminine figure, narrowing her neck to suffocation and painful death. So I use the masculine style to show the power system as a metaphor, and the figure shows minorities and marginalized people which are under the pressure just because of the action of power system. So I use the black cover on the head to show the metaphor for hijab, which I believe that sometimes religion is used as of controlling others instead of the real connection with God. And I couldn't show the whole minorities in one painting, but choosing black color also, especially over the neck of figure, is a metaphor for the racism and the slogan of "I cannot breathe." And underneath showed the forest border that is covered by the smoke, showing that there is the same problem in the nature, and the trees also cannot breathe. So having this image in mind, it seems that at first glance, the power system, that could be anything, may in any situation, may consider it as a victory of a strong over the weak, but in reality, the result of these inequities collapse and destruction of both sides and the whole world finally. So narrowing the neck of the feminine figure is the metaphor to say that if the minority cannot breathe, the whole land cannot breathe. And in the injustice system, even if you succeed, others will fail. So if you keep the capitalist frame of mind, then your success is hollow, because you become part of the system that brings ills to the people, community, and the whole earth. So injustice and oppression towards human beings and nature as a continuum, devaluing and destroying the most precious element in whole creation, which is the life in general. So our community needs transformation, but what can we do that? There are lots of points of view, but in my belief, the problem of our community is rooted in the heart of people. So to transfer our community, we need to bring love in the heart and learn how to love our neighbors and everyone in the world as ourselves, as Bible said also. So everything in our world is interconnected. So the emphasis should be on understanding and changing relationships and interactions to better in order to effectively address problems of humanity. And in my opinion, the problem in interpersonal relations is directly relating to the hardening of the heart of individuals. So we should contemplate on what we are feeling in our hearts to recognize the moment we think or we behave selfishly, or our thought biases based on racism, or the way we behave others but don't want to be treated like that. And in summary, we should recognize everything that is incompatible with our calling of our spirit that manifests itself in our mind and action. So for sure, these attributes have destructive and poisonous effects on people around us, and our relation with them with consequence repercussions on us. So in order to address any problem in our community, we need to bring love and compassion to our heart first in order to be a role model for others. And in contrast to anger, which burns and destroys the individuals and his surroundings, every act of love and compassion coming from the heart could blow life in the cold relationships dominating our society. To conclude, our relation and interaction with each other and with the world in general could work as a mirror to show us our heart, and it create an opportunity for us to change from inside out and transform our community. So in my belief, one of the most important things to transform the community is one that comes from inside of each people, rather than changing the environment first. And it will affect in the environment for sure. So with that, I finished my presentation, and thank you everyone to listen.
Okay, thank you, Miriam. You were actually you ended before time. So let's hear from Shannon now. Shannon, you will have 10 minutes. So stop share. And Shannon, you are sharing your own, right? Okay.
Sorry, I had to unmute first and then screen share. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. It's really lovely to be here. I'm Shannon Brown. I'm coming from Kingston, Ontario, which is where I live and work at Agnes Etherington Arts Centre at Queen's University. So I really enjoyed this course so much. I love the community engagement aspect of it, and being able to connect with people online, even when I'm so far away, was really amazing. But most of the time I was actually in the eastern townships of Quebec for this course. So one of the things that really resonated with me during this course was the talk of the land and of sentient beings. And so as part of our program, we were encouraged to consider our relationships with other sentient beings, each other, animals, plants, rivers, and the land, in order to consider new ways of contributing to healthier communities and planetary well-being. So when we were encouraged to put together our final project, I really felt that at that time I was quite depleted. I was pretty exhausted. I've been working nonstop during COVID and providing a lot of programs for people through my job at Agnes. So I realized that what I needed to do was to practice self-care. And being in this beautiful landscape, and you can see an image here that I drew of what I call the grandfather rock, which is a rock outside of my house. I just wanted to go and immerse myself in the land. I wanted to drape myself over the rock and roll around in the grass and really connect deeply to being in the land. So I came up with the idea of what I called was a forest ceremony. And the reason it was a ceremony was because June 10th was my birthday. And so I thought, what a great way to mark my birthday by going into the forest for 24 hours and just seeing what sort of messages I could receive from the forest. And as a filmmaker and an artist, I realized that I could also tell a story through a documentary, a short film. So I created an 8-minute film, and you can actually see the full film on the Archive Network website. But what I will show to you now is just a very short clip, well, a couple of clips. It's a 3-minute section from the documentary that I made. And I would encourage you to turn up your volume because some of it is not as loud as it could be. So I do hope that you can hear it. And afterwards, I'll tell you a little bit about my recommendations for anyone else who wanted to do a forest ceremony and how to do that and some of the considerations to keep in mind. So let's hope this plays for you. Here we go.
As I look into the sky, I see what I think is an airplane flying overhead. It seems to be going very quickly. But what's that? A firefly as well. And then I look around and they're everywhere. The lights in the sky, the lights in the trees, the buzzing of all the animals, the insects, the frogs. Nature is alive. And so many people think it's just nothing. They don't even know it exists. They don't even know that they are nature, that they are part of this symphony of sound and light and stars and magic. It's incredible. Beautiful blue jays just come and landed in front of me. What a gift to be sitting quietly in the woods with all these beautiful friends. I'm so truly reminded that we need to slow down and listen. Especially to the birds. They have a lot to say.
So that's just a short couple of clips, but you'll notice that within it, you'll have seen some animations and some music. That's actually me playing the singing bowls and singing. And I used my iPad. I used a number of different animation softwares, including Pixeloo on my iPhone. I used Brushes, which is an app to create some of the imagery on the iPad. And I also did some sketching and writing in a sketchbook. But most of the time I was sitting quietly and just taking in everything that was surrounding me. So I started my ceremony at about 4 o'clock on the 9th and then finished around 4 on the 10th. But so what I have up on the website is kind of a list of considerations for anyone who wants to do their own solo forest ceremony. And I think you could probably, you might not be able to sleep in a park, but you know, starting at sunrise in a park and then taking yourself into the night would also be another good way to do this if you're living in the city. So just first thing to consider is be prepared, bring whatever you want to bring. Sketchbooks, pencils, an umbrella, be prepared for the weather. You really want to be able to just relax and focus when you're there. And then also make sure somebody knows that you're there so they can be on call if you need any help. If you are in the forest, make sure you're as cozy as possible. If you can have a fire, that's also really nice. And make sure that you have a little bag for garbage and clothing for cool and warm temperatures. Down below the sketch here is an image that I did of my tent, because during my forest ceremony, I actually had a dream where I met the Council of Animals. And a fox came to see me, and the fox told me exactly what Miriam said, which is that we have to cultivate a loving heart. And that was directly from the animals. So the land and the animals do speak to us when we listen. So in terms of what else to do, when you start your ceremony, I'm trying to get myself away from, take my images away so I can see what I've written here. But anyways, it's important to start by having an intention. So when you start any experience where you're going to go deeply into your unconscious or into dreaming, it's always good to have an intention so that you know what you're looking for and you know what the answers, you know, you're putting out into the universe basically what it is that you're trying to do. So getting a clear idea. And what I've also said here is ask for help from your ancestors or your spiritual guides if you have that, if that's part of your worldview. You could even ask the forest and nature to support you. Then you want to figure out what sort of answers you're looking for or what sort of questions you want to ask. What are the things you need to know? What messages does the earth have for you? You could even ask about your soul's purpose or who you are. This is really sort of an active imagination process. And if you study Carl Jung et al., then you will know about active imagination, where you are able to just quiet your mind and then ask of an image or a sculpture or something in front of you, you can ask something for answers. And really it's about learning to trust that what comes to you is an answer that you need to hear. So I say here, settle in and open your ears and mind. Also be really attuned to the senses, what you smell, what you see, what you hear, what you can taste. Really connecting deeply to nature with all of your senses, not just your mind and your eyes. Because even though a bird is chirping and it's not necessarily a language you know, we are all deeply connected. And when you're in that very relaxed, receptive state, a bird's chirp could give you information. And even in my film that you saw, I really noticed that the birds it was as if they were screaming at me. They were really loud and they were really present. And I didn't necessarily know what they were saying exactly, but I knew they were saying, it's time to listen up, people. So I would encourage any sort of creative response to your experience, and try not to rationalize anything that you're receiving. Just pay attention and record the answers that you find. This image here on the left is something I like to do, which is the mirroring function that you can use in different apps. But to me, it does really seem like there's an image here. It looks like a forest spirit or some sort of nature goddess with her head at the top and then her arms spread out. I'm not sure if you noticed that as well, but that time of day was very powerful and very beautiful. So again, notice those different times of the day and how you feel at those times of the day. If you're feeling nervous or scared when it's getting dark, that's okay. Just breathe into it and really try and understand why that's happening to you. I say here as well, ask for messages from your ancestors. Another great resource that we have inside of us, again, using that active imagination experience to ask questions of those guides that you have in your life and listen for answers. When you sleep, if you're actually including sleeping within that 24-hour ceremony, then before you go to sleep, make sure you have some intentions for your dreams, and also leave your sketchbook beside you or a recording device so that as soon as you wake up, you write those things down. And if you're not a dream recorder, then what I would suggest to you is before you think, before you pick up your cell phone, before you engage with your day, whatever dream images come to you or dream messages, whether they seem totally sublime or totally innocuous, just write them down, because later on they may speak to you in a way that you didn't rationally know at the time. Some of the challenges you might have, you might not feel like you have any messages coming to you. That's okay too. Then just get up, move around, dance, sing, stomp on the ground, scream. Nature is forgiving of our tiny human lives and will be very generous with you. So even if it's just a sensory experience, that's enough. Just to be in nature is a beautiful thing. At the end, think about what your biggest learning is or your biggest takeaway, and create a song, a dance, a drawing, a poem, or a painting about that, or a film if you feel like it. And then think about how you can bring all of this learning into your life. Finally, to wrap up, make sure that you enjoy nature and give thanks. It's so important throughout that whole experience. You're in nature. It's a wonderful time to share your gratitude. And also, I have apologized many times when I'm in nature for the things that I've done as a human that go against nature. So giving gratitude is a really important thing to do, because the planet needs us more now more than ever.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Sorry, because we're past our time. We're about 5 minutes past our time. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So now we're going to open up the floor for everyone to comment and share. Shannon, I want to make sure that you see what is in the chat for you. There's been a lot of comments in the chat. So please take a look. So please, now we have only 20 minutes left to our time together. So let's hear from the audience and see if they have any questions, comments, thoughts, or what they do themselves to keep well and keep the planet and living beings well in this time. So anyone who'd like to go first? Yes, Linda, let's hear from you.
Hi, I want to thank everybody, actually all three of you, for very inspiring presentations. And I guess my question is, I'm from the business school, so I'm not at all a creative person. That's not true. But what I'd like to say is that there's a certain element of risk in everything that people have done so far. And I start with Satoshi talking about, bringing new people into your teaching space and not perhaps being 100% sure of exactly what they're going to say and what the reaction will be. And similarly with developing your own artwork, there must be an element of risk in seeing how does it fit into the structure of the course? How are people going to react to this? What will this do to the relationships I have, and so on? So I was just hoping, as somebody who's not taken a lot of risks myself of this nature, I would love to hear your feedback about these risks that you've taken.
Well, if I may, my suggestion is start with a little bit and then little bit and then start increasing it. Because I've been an anomaly in university and I'm not really doing a lot of the regular stuff that other faculty members are doing, but I do different things and I made them accept me in slowly. So I think it's dangerous, it's risky and you're unfamiliar, but then I think if I learned another lesson from the COVID situation is that your life could be terminated at any point. So live the day to fullest extent. So enjoy. And so in that sense, I think risk disappears a little bit because you may not living tomorrow to be ashamed of what you've done today. So just do it. Maybe that's another lesson. But I think the professors are really cautious and their career is at stake. So you cannot really go beyond. But then having the professor like Janice really helps you. So choose your collaborator wisely, and then with the togetherness and collectiveness, and then you can really push the boundary of university education, slowly. And I hope that you become more bold but I'm sure there's so many business faculties who want to join you. So I think just start emitting the messages and then garner into supporters.
Linda and Satoshi, Shannon, you wanted to say something? Yes, go ahead.
So one of the things that I think is really connected to risk is also vulnerability. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable in front of others, it allows for really deep healing. And I've seen it over and over again. And even in situations where we're not talking about a program where healing is necessary, I think we all are looking for healing right now, no matter what background we're coming from. So that type of riskiness and allowing people and encouraging people to take risks allows them to then be vulnerable and allows us all to witness together.
Thanks, Shannon. We had Nikki who wanted to speak, and we also have a comment from Judith in the chat. Shannon, I would love to see the rest of your movie. Could you give us the reference? So if that's possible, perhaps for you to type this in the chat, and let's hear Nikki's question or comment.
Hi everyone, I'm so sorry for joining in a little late. I think I got the best bits at the end. I got for the last half of the presentation, but so I'll tune into the beginning. I was in the middle between two conferences, so I did my best to show up because this is one I was really looking forward to, because I am a practitioner of Shirin-yoku. I've been practicing Shirin-yoku for almost, oh my gosh, since the beginning of COVID. Literally since the beginning of COVID, and it was quite the timing. And I just want to show you 3 books that really helped me through this process. And I will draw the parallels and send you my notes, Rachel, via email on my experience, because if not, I will take everyone's airtime, and I wish not to do that. So the first one would be Peter Wolben, the German forest biologist, The Secret of the Hidden Life of Trees, What They Feel, How They Communicate. Highly, highly, highly recommend. I will send you my notes, Rachel, of this. This is required reading for those who totally want to experience this in depth. Of course, the one who kind of was the inspiration of it all is Dr. King Lee's Forest Bathing. Okay, it is how trees can help you find health and happiness. And we're talking from the chairman of the Japanese Society of Forest Medicine. So I think it's pretty legit. So yes, highly, highly recommend. And plus, there's such beautiful photos here. Oh my gosh, I want to go to Japan again. I want to go back. I want to visit the trails. I've even marked down which trails, which recommended Shirin-yoku trails and paths according to your character and or objective of journey. So really, really highly recommend. And my last book recommendation is my recent acquisition by Dr. Mark Beckett from the Yale University of Emotional Intelligence, Permission to Feel. Recently came out with it, The Power of Emotional Intelligence to Achieve Well-being and Success. So these I will type into the chat, and I'll also email Vesha the books too. He has a book club starting October 1st on this book, and I'm totally going to join it because I'm excited to dive deep about learning how to feel. So really, 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 really highly recommend. And plus, like, I'm learning how to be a coach and a wellness consultant as well, second to my bachelor's in art education with a minor in psych and some art therapy graduate level education. So I feel like this is all holistic. It all marries with each other. It's part of my 400 hours of coaching. And yeah, I look forward to building more lunch and learns for emotional intelligence. And I will share with that. This is not a promotional thing. I just want to share information, to share the love. It just so happens that everything was so timely and the universe is speaking to us in mysterious ways. The magic is the secret sauce. It's big magic. Trust it. Okay, that is thank you for my TED Talk. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nikki, for generously sharing your recommendations. I typed them in the chat out, the authors, the titles as you went, but please feel free to add more for the benefit of everyone. Does anyone else have a question or comment yes, Mo? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Do you hear me well? As you know, I was also in the class, and I like Linda's question. What I feel that in this class, I learned how to embrace risk and also our problems that we can call, as Shannon said, our vulnerable parts, and even we can consider it as a kind of potential for finding new solutions. Based on two presentations, I feel that two aspects of this class was a kind of having a critical awareness of our environment or the system we have created and we are living inside, and also the bigger system of the nature and the environment. And also having new actions or taking new actions or new kinds of engagements with this environment that we have brought lots of problems to this. And what I see in Mariam's work, we can see that how art can give this critical awareness of the problems, those bigger problems. And in Shannon's work, we can see that how we can design new rituals or new actions to have new forms of living that connect us to our selves, to our nature, and to our society. And my question is how we can connect these two parts, critical awareness and I don't know, taking action or engagement together.
Does anyone have an idea to respond to Mo's question or wants to share anything else? Perhaps people who haven't spoken yet. Yeah, Satoshi. Yeah, go ahead.
I really want to underscore the importance of be your own agency. And that is, I really appreciate the creative work that students have really done. And that creativity is the key. We enjoy the freedoms, so many liberty, for example, that we cannot really think that the Hong Kongese people today have. And of course, in the Ukraine or any other places, there are so many political oppressions in Iran, a very good case in point. So I think we have to embrace our creativity and enjoy our expressions. So I know it is really risky in the political circumstances in many places, but we have a very nice place in Canada. So we have really taken advantage of our liberty and be creative and try to really expand our freedom to the rest of the world. Because if artists stop creating and expressing, we are dead. That's what I really felt in this course, that artists are the harbinger, that they are front runner, front like a soldiers in a way, to really express their feelings and ideas. And like social scientists tends to really like a step back and let other people express demonstration and so forth. But I think I really appreciate artist instinct to really be the creative being. So I really encourage you to, like an artist, and then those who are not artists, to boldly embrace the creativity that we have in a way. And so that we can be really joining the artists, so that we can really be expressing and problematizing the situation and raising the potential to really solve the issues, be kind. And of course, Miriam's point about it start with love, caring, empathy. And I think those are really important, the point. And I think I have Kathy among the audience, and Kathy is one of my fellow activists at the Transition NDG. And we really embrace this issue of be empathetic. And so nonviolent communication is a very important way. So I'd add Nikki's list of the good books, nonviolent communication. It's available on the internet and so forth. So I think that's another way of how we can really move out of this conflict, competitive urge to a more collaborative, empathetic world. Thank you.
Yes, Janice, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize the point around interdisciplinarity as well. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be good at everything. There's something about a balance between choosing collaborators to work with, which Satoshi's been a fabulous one, along with all the students. There were 25 students in the class. But also within yourself, like as soon as the art making starts to happen, as soon as creative conversations start to happen, we have a tendency to be able to find these places in ourselves that haven't been activated in a very long time. And that's what happens at the art hives, is that instead of prescribing or doing workshops about how to formulate things, we invite people to enter in with not knowing. Not knowing is a very powerful action in this day and age. It's a risk-taking place to say, I don't know. And that begins sort of this new entry of, whether it's from nature or from the art making in your own day-to-day, with the information that you need to go the next step. But without that, I think we're in big trouble. I think if people don't take this risk, these are, like Satoshi said, these are the risks that we are privileged to take, and we must. So that requires like a very strong slowing down process that's been mentioned. Shannon talked about that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Janice. Let's hear from Diana.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share a testimony from today, actually. We had a participant joining, and she said that in my country, I was not encouraged and I was taught not to be spontaneous. So I come to the art hive to nurture that. So I thought that was such a profound reflection from somebody who's been coming for a long time. And to look for spaces like this to cultivate something that we haven't been taught or have been discouraged. It's a very precious, thing to have. So I thought I would share that testimony today.
Thank you so much, Diana. I want to note that we have 5 minutes left to our time together. But we're convening again tomorrow. So if you want to hear from Janice, Mo, who's here today, but also his colleague Fred, as well as Hamid Ayub, they will be presenting the projects that they did tomorrow at the same time, same format. If you want to join us again, in the chat box, I have shared the link for registering for tomorrow. You have to register for each of the meetings separately. So please click on the link. You only have to input your name and email. It's very simple. I've also shared the link to the website where all of the student projects, so as Janice mentioned, there were 25 students. We're hearing from 5 of them over these 2 days, but there were 25 of them and all of the projects are listed. Some of them were group projects, so that's why there are a few and 25. So with the 4 minutes we have left, we can take one more comment if someone who hasn't spoken has something that they'd like to say, and then we can hear from our 3 speakers some sort of ending word, last comment before we part ways for the rest of the day. So any last person who wants to comment before we turn it back over to the speakers? No? Okay. So any one of the speakers who would like to comment first before we finish this meeting?
Okay. Sure. Can I go? Thank you very much for joining us, and then I really am grateful to the students who really showed us what is the fun and joy of engaging with the creative minds and open heart, and so I really appreciate you. And then at the same time, I think this is just one point in your life, and I hope that you continue building upon all these experiences and getting to really make the world much more fun and enjoyable. And your creativity is the key, and I learned that. So I continue my photography, even though, but I think I hope you get the point. Like even the layperson like me can enjoy art, and so those artists have enormous talent to really share. You are the expert on the material and expression, and you can really bend the metal, and that's what artists do. So you are the future of humanity, because your creativity and sensitivity and the art to express your everything is the key to the future. So I really hope that maybe in the next life I can join the fine arts faculty. Thank you.
Miriam, do you want to say a final word?
I want to thank everyone for their precious comments, and also thanks Janice and Satoshi for their great class, which brought us, as Satoshi said, new view. And one of the really precious sentences I want to insist that Satoshi says, that live a day with the full, like, I don't know, full aspects of the day with whole of us, like maybe I can say with mindfulness, and experience the whole of it. And if we can do that, it's really a great things for grow for the creativity. And thank you for create us a place to do that.
Thank you, Miriam. Let's hear a final word from Shannon.
Thank you all for coming today and for inviting me. It was really wonderful. I'm just so thrilled that I was able to take this class and to work with you, Janice and Satoshi and Rachel and everyone else from the course, and to meet all of you today. I'm also working on an art and wellness speaker series at Agnes Etherington Arts Center. It's going to be online. It's free. I've got a link here. If you just go to the Agnes website, it's called the Art and Wellness Speaker Series. It kicks off next Friday with Janice as one of our keynote speakers. So I hope that you can join us, and I'll also put it in the Facebook page too. So yeah, live your life take every moment. You know, there's such beauty around us, and I do find gratitude in my life every day helps to make my life better. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you everyone for such inspiring art projects and words and instructions to carry on. And thank you to Fort Space for welcoming us in your virtual space. It's been a great experience. Anna from Fort Space is here. I know she wants to say a few words as well, so I will let her do so. And Douglas as well is here. So thank you all so much for having us, and please join again tomorrow if you feel so inclined. It would be great to have you again and to be able to make links between the two events. So Anna, it's yours.
Thanks so much, Rachel. On behalf of all of us really here behind the scenes at Fort Space, I'd like to thank you for being here, for your time. Thanks to Rachel for working with us to develop this event, to Dr. Satoshi Ikeda for your insights, your introduction today, and your personal reflection, the presenters for sharing your work and ideas, and of course, the audience for taking the time to be here with us today. And we do hope, as Rachel says, you'll come back tomorrow for the second part of this exploration, where Dr. Janice Timbotos will be joining us as well, along with the presenting students. I'll just remind everybody that there will be a recording of today's presentations that will be available on our website, which is concordia.ca/4. It'll be up there quite soon. And of course, if you're on Facebook, it's already there now. And those of you on social media, we invite you to follow us at CU Fort Space to keep up with these sorts of live events that we put on quite often, and other content we produce to connect you with the research projects and initiatives happening at Concordia. So on that note, I hope you enjoy your lunch and some sun. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.
Bye, Anna. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.